13th of December 22. It's Tuesday, and the only thing that I'm bothered about is immigration. It's the only thing I vote on, but I don't feel I can talk about that on YouTube, so I'm just going to look at other things. And today I'm going to talk about the union strikes. Today it seems to be the rail workers' turn. I've not really been following this because I'm not really interested. I'm not a big union fan, never have been really. I think unions are definitely needed, but I've never been a fan of the culture, and I feel most of the time they've been in the wrong as well, so yeah. So, talking about the union thing, we've got today it's the rail strikes, so I'm not a supporter, you know. I don't know, I ain't really trying to bring in, I mean, you can't do anything. They're not wanting to make any changes. It's like these big sort of organisations, they're there for the workers rather than for the whatever service or thing they're meant to be doing, you know, a service or a product. So I'm not really a fan. I'm always baffled why the public support them. They seem to, you know, maybe it's just the way the BBC and that make it look, and ITV and the whole lot. You know, they do their vox pops and interview people at train stations and stuff, members of the public. But yeah, I don't know whether they've got public support or not. They haven't for me. None of them have for me, you know, the nurses or the postal workers or whatever. I just feel it's an opportunistic thing, and also they're trying to take advantage of the weird high inflation we've got at the moment, which I think will go down rapidly, because most of it's probably because of the energy crisis, because of the energy price, because of the Ukraine war. I mean, we've just come through COVID, the first pandemic in 100 years, where everyone was getting paid to stay home, and it was, that was nearly 2 years. And then after that we had the Russians, Putin invading Ukraine, affecting the energy price. The energy price is another thing, you know, it's made up in a weird way, because Scotland, we've got a sort of 100% green energy, and yet we're still paying the price in the market for the gas price for electricity and stuff. It's just bizarre the way they do it. But anyway, yeah, we've just been through those two crises for the country. So I would say that and this inflation thing, I think it's going to take a year, and then they'll get it down. It might not have been under Truss, because that wasn't her aim, but Rishi Sunak's aim is to get inflation down before anything else, and I think that's the way Margaret Thatcher tried it as well. You've got to have inflation, really, because inflation means it just gets out of control. I mean, it is pretty much out of control just now, 15% or whatever. And so, but next year it's probably going to go down to 5% or something if everyone holds on. But not if they all get big, massive pay rises, especially in the public sector, you know, because the private, you can't really do this. So to me, it's just taking advantage of the situation, and also because the inflation is unnaturally high for a year or two, you know, because if the energy price is going to go way down eventually, and that means they're going to be left with the public sector workers will have got maybe that 19% pay rise, whereas energy prices are way down, you know, and energy prices makes everything else, you have to pay more, because yeah, so I don't know whether they've got public support or what. If they have, I don't know why. Yeah, I don't really support unions just naturally. You would think I was meant to, because I was always a Labour voter or SNP or even Lib Dems. I voted Green. I've voted the whole left, but I would never vote the left now on immigration. So I've never really been felt identified with the left though, you know. I mean, I don't agree with parties. I think it's issues we should be voting on. So we should have an electoral system like the Swiss one. Yeah, but anyway, back onto the union stuff. Yeah, if a nurse gets 33k a year as a starting thing, I mean, personally, I think that needs to come down. You know, because it's the taxpayer that's paying for that, and it seems too much. I would say around about 25k. You know, so if anything, I think a lot of them should be getting pay cuts. I think the London tube drivers, the tube tried to bring in automated for the tube things, and again the unions came out against that, even though we probably don't need drivers for those trains now on the tube. And I think they were getting about 66,000 a year. I mean, that's just ridiculous. They should be getting, 25k, I would say again. But of course, if they're automated, they shouldn't be getting anything. They shouldn't be there. So this is just this sort of daft thing. And it seems all these old public sector things, they've got archaic ways. And this is how we've got all these sort of big union things. I think the public sector makes up about 25% of the workforce now. Whereas in the old days it used to be like 50% or something. So I've maybe just made that figure up, I don't know. Yeah, and just looking at the Royal Mail, I mean, I think the Royal Mail say they lose 1 million a day. Funny enough, that became a sort of private company, didn't it? I think it was Vince Cable that sold it off or whatever, and I don't know, but I mean, the letter business, you can forget it, I would imagine. It seems that they're wanting to do away with the Saturday mail, which they're obliged to do at the moment. I would guess the Royal Mail workers aren't fighting against that, because they're probably wanting a Saturday off or whatever. So I don't know, but yeah, I'm not with the mail workers either, or the post, you know. I mean, I suppose we're always going to have to need a postal thing, but letters are finished really. As for parcels, I mean, there's so many different carriers now. You've got the cheap ones like Every and all that, and then you've got DPD and the likes of Amazon. I don't think use the Royal Mail anymore, really, do they? I don't think so, but so I don't know what's going to happen to the Royal Mail, but again, I don't know what they're going to strike about, but probably conditions again, you know, they want things protected, and pay, of course. Yeah, because I think inflation says it's, I don't know what they're saying it is at the moment, right, say 15%, but we've just been through a pandemic for 2 years, our first crisis in 100 years, well, apart from the war, and we've just got to stick together, because it'll probably, what we want is inflation way down. We don't want inflation way up, like 19% like the workers are wanting, as in the nurses, I don't know, but yeah, nobody wants inflation. You want inflation at, I think they say you want inflation around about 2% or 3%, so that everyone's sort of, we're continuing to grow, I don't know, but yeah, I totally agree with Rishi with that. You want inflation right down. And really, that I see this as a sort of patriotic thing because of what we've just been through. Because I'm amazed that we weren't in a major depression because of the COVID thing. I don't understand why we weren't. I don't know and understand why it didn't ruin us financially, you know. So we came through that. Then we ended up with the Ukraine war, where it turns out that Ukraine's the breadbasket of the world, and most of Europe gets a lot of its gas from Russia, especially Germany. I think German politicians are a bit crazy, to be honest, in a sort of daft way. They're just, I don't even, including Merkel and all that. I mean, I used to have an impression of the stereotypical German, you know, efficient and all that, Vorsprung der Technik. Now it's the total opposite. It's like sort of incompetence, certainly at the governmental level and the voter level as well, from what they're voting in. Yeah, and another thing about unions, Liz Truss was, someone issued a statement on her behalf saying that they were looking at bringing in regional pay, and Liz Truss immediately put that down and said, no, we're not doing that at all, because apparently it's a bad thing to image-wise, but it was the right thing to do. So that was Liz Truss making another fool of herself. She had a great chance there to do something really good, because regional pay makes sense. I mean, London, the rent can be like $2,000 a month for a small flat, whereas in Glasgow it might be, I don't know, 400 a month maybe, or maybe a bit more. You know, so regional pay is needed. It's a question of when are we going to get there, and we don't really know actually, because Labour can always say, oh, we're against it. Funnily enough, Labour were saying that the BMA, the British Medical Association, West Streeting was saying yesterday that, well, they're being ridiculous or whatever, which of course they are. And I don't know, it was Keir Starmer was saying that the nurses who can't afford 19% as well. So these are all a bit surprising coming from Labour, you know. Surprisingly sensible, although they're sort of backing out of it now, it seems. But I would never vote Labour anyway. It's impossible because of immigration. So, yeah. But I mean, I don't agree with parties anyway. I agree with single issues and that, you know, but I think the idea of party hampers is just for the past, really. It doesn't work. And neither does having to wait 5 years for an election. So the only good thing about the rail strike and all that is this Mick Lynch guy giving the interviewers a hard time, you know, because they deserve it, because the interviewers are always going on and on and on. He gave that Richard Madeley a hard time today and said, are you interviewing yourself or something, which is good to see, you know, because these sort of pompous interviewers are just so tedious. They're maybe news reporters, but really, that's about the only good thing he's good at, just showing the pomposity and incompetence of the interviewers. Apart from that, you know, I don't even know what the rail strike's about. I mean, it's only one part of the rail, but then I would advise try not to use rail, you know, or public transport. Try and avoid it if you want a nice life, you know. I mean, the best way is an electric car, if you can get an electric car, go about in that. Because I'm a bit green conscious, I'm a realistic green. Alright, I think I'll leave it at that. That's me. I hope that's been very informative to you. One last thing, I say this a lot, people feel there's nothing can be done, and they are right in general. I mean, Britain's finished anyway, and so's the West, but if you're anxious about this subject, or not this subject, but whatever subject you're anxious about, there are some things you can do, like in the YouGov political polls, it usually asks you, what 3 things are you concerned about? If you just tick the one thing that you're really concerned about, and don't tick anything else, because each time you tick something you're diluting that thing. So just tick one thing in that 3 things you get to choose from. And the other thing is, if you've got a council by-election, don't vote any left party, you know, like Labour, SNP, especially if it is a Labour, SNP, Lib Dem area. You know, as a protest vote, vote Tory, just as a protest vote. Further, if you've got the opportunity, you know, like UKIP or whatever, in a Tory area, I don't know what to do, but I would still vote Tory at the moment, you know. So that's just a general point overall that I say in most cases.